No matter what the media throws at her, Karoline Leavitt doesn't back down. Reporters have tried again and again to trip her up, but she stands her ground every time. Don't just take my word for it. Let me show you exactly what's going on.
Vladimir Putin's intentions, and specifically it was asked whether or not his intentions go beyond, his territorial ambitions go beyond Ukraine. How does the president view this issue?
The president has spoken on this. He said, as he calls it, he believes Ukraine was always the apple of Putin's eye, and he made it very clear to Putin in his first term not to invade Ukraine. Putin didn't invade Ukraine because of President Trump's peace through strength foreign policy agenda and the effective deterrence policies that he implemented in the first term. Unfortunately, because of the weakness and incompetence of the previous administration, Vladimir Putin made the decision to invade Ukraine, and now we have this brutal war which the president is working very hard to end.
Got to say, Karoline Leavitt is absolutely right here. Under President Trump, there really was peace through strength. The world may not have liked his style, but they respected his leadership. Then came Joe Biden, and everything changed. He didn't just lose control, he cost the United States real credibility on the global stage. People love to say, Trump made America a joke around the world. But let's be honest, that's just not true. Like him or not, Trump kept the global troublemakers in check. He walked into tense situations, including face-to-face talks with North Korea, a regime known for being dangerously unpredictable. That's not something most leaders would even dare to attempt. And yet, Trump managed to keep things steady. He didn't play games, he brought real pressure and real results. When it mattered most, he showed strength, and the world knew it.
There's a lot of security around the White House complex, around the Capitol complex, even along the tidal basin. Is that just proactive? Are you expecting anything in particular in terms of unrest like we've seen in Los Angeles?
These are proactive security measures to protect those marching in the parade, many of whom will be veterans and our brave men and women in uniform and Gold Star families. There's going to be military families from around the country who are flying into this parade. And of course, it's to protect the spectators who will be enjoying this incredibly patriotic show on Saturday. And I hope you all join us there.
Watch Karoline do what she does best, cutting through the noise and setting the record straight. She doesn't just defend her views, she stands her ground and calls it like it is. And trust me, things are about to heat up. The questions coming her way next. They're tougher, sharper, and a lot less friendly than what we saw from John in the last clip. So buckle up. It's about to get interesting.
Democrats saying they want to reclaim the American flag. It's also being titled No King's Day.
The president views himself as the president of the United States of America. This is a constitutional republic, and we want to see all of our citizens be proud of the country in which they are given the privilege and the blessing to live. And I think that those images of foreign flags being waved with, by illegal criminals and by violent rioters in the face of cars blowing up and of flames in the city. I have photos of that here to show you. With this violence and destruction that occurred is an image that Governor Gavin Newsom owns. This is his city, and President Trump saw these images and he said that is not going to be accepted or tolerated, and hence why he deployed the National Guard and United States Marines who have helped.
Absolutely spot on. I couldn't have said it better myself. What really jumps out here is that this White House isn't just throwing around talking points or vague political slogans. They're coming with facts, real, undeniable proof. And that's rare in politics. Usually, it's all spin and empty words. But this time, they're backing it up with hard evidence. People often call Trump the content president, and I think Asmongold helped popularize that phrase, and it fits. Because now it's not just about talking policy, it's about showing the reality. They're putting up photos, laying out the facts, and saying, look at what's happening in your city. This is the result. Now, what are you going to do about it? That's how you shake people awake. That's how real change begins, not with fancy speeches, but with proof that can't be ignored.
If the president does end up deploying any National Guard members, perhaps Marines, to blue states, would he be in contact with the governors prior to this? Would it be necessary?
Well, President Trump was in contact with Governor Gavin Newsom despite some of the claims he's made in the last couple of days. The president called the governor on Friday evening and told him to let law enforcement in California do their job, but they have been kneecapped by incompetent Democrat policies and Democrat politicians president gave Gavin Newsom a warning and said, get it together. 24 hours later, we saw more images like this. We heard about Border Patrol agents who were being the target of rocks. These illegal criminals were throwing rocks at our Border Patrol and ICE agents, and so the president made the decision to federalize California's National Guard.
Caitlin Collins. You know the look? That constant scowl? Like she just caught a whiff of something rotten? She always seems irritated, maybe even a little disgusted. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look for yourself, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Secretary Noem sent a memo to the Pentagon asking Secretary Hegseth to have and direct the military that's on the ground in LA to arrest and detain what she said were lawbreakers. Is the president okay with that? And under what authority would the members of the military be able to arrest people inside the United States?
And as you know, the president federalized the National Guard under U.S. Code 10, which he has the authority to do. And our United States Marines and the National Guardsmen and women who are on the ground right now are helping to create a peaceful environment for ICE and Border Patrol, who were being, again, hailed with rocks, who were being violently and viciously attacked. They needed reinforcements, and so our United States Marines who are on the ground are providing those reinforcements to ensure the environment is peaceful so that these raids and deportations can continue.
If you thought that was the end of it, think again. Caitlin came right back for round 2, and Karoline didn't miss a beat. She hit back with another sharp, well-timed response that shut it down fast.
He realizes they can't actually arrest people unless he invokes the Insurrection Act, which, I mean, seemingly was not something that was in Secretary Noem's memo, a clear distinction she did not make there.
Again, you're trying to conflate a letter that was sent to the Department of Homeland Security to the president's legal authority. The president understands the legal authority that he invoked, and that's the current situation right now.
When it comes to federalizing the National Guard, what is the specific criteria that the president is using for when he's deciding to do that, and in which states?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday. He wants to see an end to the chaos and the violence. He doesn't want to see law enforcement officers being attacked. He wants to see peace. He wants law-abiding Californians to be able to bring their kids to school, to be able to go to work without seeing this violence in the streets. That's what the president's hoping for, and that's why he's taking.
This next part is pretty cool. Here's Aldo, and he's with Timcast. News I didn't even realize he was going to be there, which makes it all the more exciting. What this moment shows is something big. This White House is finally starting to recognize and include the voices that actually matter in today's media landscape. Think about it. Timcast isn't just some small online outlet. It's the largest daily live political show in the world. No question, maybe Asmongold edges it out in total viewership now and then. But in terms of political impact, Timcast is a powerhouse. So having Aldo right there, front and center, asking questions, that's a big deal. Huge congrats to him. It's great to see, but more importantly, it signals a major shift. For once, we're seeing alternative media platforms treated as legitimate, not just ignored in favor of the same old legacy news networks. Real progress. Now, let's get into this final clip. Trust me, you're going to want to see this done.
First Amendment protection, the most important, is stopping violence, most important. Why is he not out saying all peaceful protesters will be protected?
I think two things can be important at the same time, and the president, as I just answered, supports the right of Americans to peacefully protest. He supports the First Amendment, but that is not the majority of the behavior that we have seen taking place in Los Angeles. We have seen mobs of violent rioters and agitators assaulting law enforcement officers, assaulting our federal immigration authorities. And we have seen, as I said, this goes back to what this administration is trying to do and accomplish, and that's enforcing law and order in our nation's community.
Isn't it just kind of funny in a sad, almost ridiculous way, watching Gavin Newsom act like everything's totally fine? He sits there with a straight face, practically pleading with us to believe, no, really, everything's under control. Same story with the mayor. Nothing to see here, folks. Meanwhile, the truth is right in front of us, plain as day. But this is where I want to hear from you. These issues impact all of us, and your voice genuinely matters. So jump into the comments and let me know what you think. Let's have a real conversation about it. And hey, if you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, go ahead and like, subscribe, and engage however you can. It really does help more than you might think. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.